Hey, what's going on, everybody? And thanks for tuning in to this week's live video. I am Jason Duprat, and I'm the founder of the Healthcare Entrepreneur Academy, which is a podcast and an educational platform to teach healthcare professionals how to be better business owners and how to start practices and how to start online courses. I own two programs, one of which is the Ketamine Academy, and the other is the IV Therapy Academy. So if you're interested in learning either one of those two niche practice types, then definitely you will want to check out our website. But on this particular video episode, this live stream, we're going to talk about how to grow your own practice so that you can grow your income. And this is actually a really common problem that a lot of healthcare professionals have issues with, because they start a practice, and because they are the only licensed or the main licensed professional in their practice, they tend to be the income generator. And when you have a practice and you're the only income generator, then you are setting yourself up to have a less than enjoyable experience. And the reason is, as the technician, as one of the only income generators in your practice, you are going to be forced to work in your business, which is going to prevent you from working on your business. And those are two really important key distinctions. You, as the business owner, should be spending the majority of your time working on your business instead of in it. And it's a really common problem for clinicians, especially providers, because providers typically are the major source of income for their practice. And oftentimes providers start a practice alone or maybe with one partner. And so it can be really challenging to not work in the practice. But there's some things that you can do to free up some more of your time to grow your practice so that you can grow your income in ways that don't depend on you working more hours, because that's not why you got into medicine, right? You didn't get into medicine to work an insane number of hours like many of us end up doing. I know that when I was working in full-time practicing anesthesia, there were weeks when I was literally working nearly 100 hours a week in the hospital. And it was just insane. That is not why I got into healthcare. And that is why now I'm focused on helping other professionals find more balance, find more freedom in what they're doing. And so today's video is going to be focused on a couple of steps that you can do to work on your business instead of in your business. So the number one thing is going to be to hire staff. Now, you are going to have to go and find other income generating professionals to help take the load off of your shoulders when it comes to participating or performing revenue generating activities for your practice. Now, that's has its own set of challenges, and I think that's why so many clinicians tend to not go that route. But you just have to take some time, and you really want to do it before your practice is so busy that you are sort of forced to make quick hires, because that can cause other problems on its own, right? So you want to make sure that you're doing this well in advance, well before you're reaching your maximum capacity as the primary clinician of your practice. So hiring another provider is going to allow you to scale your practice while allowing you to cut back on your particular workload and the number of hours that you're working. So let's just run through a quick example right here. Let's just say that in your practice, you typically see, let's just be conservative, say you see 10 patients a day. And when you're seeing those 10 patients a day, you're averaging about $75 a patient in profit. So if you do the math on that, say you're seeing 10 patients a day at $75, you're making about $750 a day in profit. Well, how can you increase your particular revenue generation in that scenario? You can see more patients. You could potentially try to make more profit, but let's just say you've already sort of honed your business expenses, so you really can't squeeze any more profit margin out of that. So then your option is to see more patients, right? So, okay, let's say that instead of working your typical 7 or 8 hours a day seeing patients, now you're moving up to more like 12 hours a day seeing patients. And now you're working a little faster too, and now you're seeing 20 patients a day. So you do the math on that. And that works out to be about $1,500 a day. That's a pretty good pay increase, right? But that's all done on your shoulders. That's extra work that you have to do, right? And if you want to get another raise or make more income in your practice, you have to see more patients, right? So let's say you're up now to working 14 hours a day, seeing lots of patients really quick, and you're at 30 patients. You're 30 patients a day. So that's going to generate you $2,250 a day. That's a pretty reasonable salary. Well, now you have to subtract the time that you can't work, right? So in a year, there's 365 days in a year. If you count all the weekends, say you're not open on weekends, pretty typical for a lot of medical practices, and should be if you want to have like a really good lifestyle practice. So that leaves you with 261 days where you could generate revenue. So if you are maxed out, working those, say, 14 hours a day, seeing 30 patients a day, you can generate in those 261 days, $587,000 a year, roughly. So the caveat to that, though, is that you're working obviously 14 hours a day, and who the heck wants to do that day in and day out? Also, I didn't factor in any vacation. So basically, that was no vacation time. You get 0 days off besides your weekends. Now, that's not like a reasonable way to boost the sales long-term of a practice, right? You need to hire other revenue generating staff members. And when you're starting out, sometimes it feels like, you're giving up a little bit of control. Your practice is your baby. Nobody else is going to be able to see patients like you. Is some of the thoughts that might be running through your head, but you have to get over that. Bringing somebody else in could actually open up a lot of other opportunities in that maybe they have other skill sets that you don't. Maybe they are actually better at seeing patients than you are. Maybe they are better. They have better bedside manner. Variety of different things could come into play there. But the key is that you need to look beyond yourself as being the only or the main clinician in your practice and start to find other income generating practitioners. So let's say you hire one more income generating practitioner and say that you're able to profit maybe $30 per patient off of the patients that they see. And say they're seeing, 20 patients a day. So that's right there is going to boost your clinic's revenue by about $600 a day. And if you do the math on that, that's about $140,000 a year that you just were able to boost your practice's income. And that's really substantial, right? So that is also including giving them weekends off. That's including giving them 4 weeks of vacation time. So you can see how quickly you can scale a practice if you start to learn how to leverage the time and skills of other revenue generators, other practitioners, other clinicians who are able to charge for their services. So that is the number one thing that you can do to grow your practice and your income and hopefully grow your level of fulfillment and happiness, because now your practice, if you do that and if you keep replicating it, your practice can generate revenue without you having to be present. So that first example that I gave where you were generating 580,000. Yeah, that's wonderful, right? But you have no life. You can't, if the second you stop working, your revenue stops. And you don't want to have a practice that's like that. That's 100% dependent on you. So you need to hire other staff. And there's a variety of ways to do that effectively, which is beyond the scope of this video, but I do want to encourage those who are new clinicians or newer practice owners to think beyond themselves when it comes to generating revenue for their practice. That is only one aspect of it. And sure, it's a great way to get started. You can keep your expenses down, but at some point you're going to have to pass the torch and you're going to have to bring in help if you want to scale your income, scale your practice, scale the impact that you can have in your patients' lives. And so I highly encourage you to do that. And additionally, you can outsource basically everything that can be done remotely. And you can do that for a very inexpensive price by hiring overseas virtual contractors. And that is outside the scope of this video too, but I want to get your wheels turning. I want you to think of ways that you can reduce expenses, increase revenue, and take the workload off of yourself. The whole idea of being a practice owner is so that you can enjoy being a practice owner. You don't want to be stuck in the trenches nonstop, not being able to enjoy your practice. And so that is some of the things we talk about in our courses. And if you're interested in learning more about what we have to offer, we teach ketamine therapy. We teach the art, science, and business of starting a ketamine therapy practice. And I also teach the art, science, and business with a couple of partners, the IV nutritional therapy. And so if either of those practice models interest you, then I highly encourage you to check out our websites in the descriptions below. And definitely, if you're interested in more content like this, make sure, excuse me, make sure that you like this video and subscribe to get notified when I release more helpful videos like this. Also, you can check out my podcast. It's called the Healthcare Entrepreneur Academy Podcast. Totally free. You can find it on pretty much every podcasting app that's out there. I release 2 episodes a week and love to have you as a listener there as well. Anyways, thanks for checking out this live stream lesson on how to grow your practice and your income. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys soon. Talk to you later.